Happy day to everyone. We are amid an extraordinary situation emerging out of the global pandemic and the consequent lockdown. With this unprecedented lockdown, everything has come to an abrupt halt, and academics is not an exception. Something has to keep us going to remain updated, gain more knowledge, and motivate ourselves and others. I welcome this thoughtful idea of conducting a webinar by our management, which helps us to remain connected and share knowledge with personalities from diverse genre. On behalf of SAN Group of Schools, I welcome you all to this webinar.
Today we have among us a famous personality who dons several hats. She is a media professional, actor, model, storyteller, author of children's book, theatre and voiceover artist. She holds a bachelor's degree in political science from Lady Shri Ram College for Women in Delhi and a degree in mass communication from Jamia Millia in Delhi. She made her professional acting debut in the movie Minsara kanavu starring Kajol and Arvind Sami.
Not only that, she has acted in over 25 movies in entertaining and memorable roles, which includes blockbusters like Jeans, Minnale, Ghilli, Billatu, Singham 2, Aida Eluthu, Vetiyadi Velyadi, often playing the role of a mother. Her engagement with children began when she produced the audio cassette The Learning Train in 1995 that simplified the world of numbers through story and songs. She also runs her own storytelling initiative, GOLPO, Tales Unlimited. The word Golpo in Bengali means story. Her sessions are an interactive mix of narration, music, and movement. She turned as an author in 2018 with her first picture book, The Jungle Storytelling Festival, published by Tulika in 9 languages.
She has modeled for leading brands and also appeared in a web series on the YouTube channel. She is also a visiting faculty at Chennai Business School, where she conducts a course called Lead Yourself Through Storytelling. She is also the chief ideator at Little Trails. So let's put our hands together to welcome our guest for this webinar, Ms.Janaki Sabesh. Ma'am, on behalf of SAN Group of Schools, I welcome you to this webinar.
A hearty welcome to you, ma'am. Communication is very integral and important part of one's life. Communicating effectively is the key to build interpersonal relationship through sharing process, opinions, and so on. It helps us to understand a person or a situation in a better way. It also facilitates to sort out differences and build trust and respect. Not wasting any further time, let's hear today's topic, effective ways of communication from our guest. We will have the question and answer session during the last 10 minutes. I request the audience to please jot down any questions you would like to pose and post in the chat at the end of the session. Ma'am, I request you to take over.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I would request all the children, I know you're very busy chatting, I can see all your comments. So can you quickly say Amrit, Nizer, and all these people, can you give me a thumbs up that you can hear me well? Am I audible? All right. So I am going to assume that yes, I am audible. Okay, so good morning. Good morning to children, teachers, parents, whoever is watching this live show. Thank you, SAN Academy, the staff, the principal, Sujata ma'am, Malar, Deepa, Maha, everybody for inviting me to be a part of what I call is shared learning. Learnings which I have, accumulated over the years. And today, I'm so happy to talk on something very, very dear to my heart, and that's called effective communication. You know, as a child, I grew up in Kolkata, Calcutta, and my father surrounded me with books. You know why? Because he was working with a publisher. So I used to go with Appa almost every, maybe weekly once, because he used to take me to this place in Park Street in Kolkata, and he used to make me sit on a chair, and he will surround me with Amar Chitra Kathas and encyclopedia. Remember, there was no Google, no internet, no cell phone during those days. He would surround me with books, and I would just immerse myself in those books. And before long, Appa would say, "Come, it's time for us to go." And I'd say, "But Appa, I want these books." And he would then go to the counter, buy me a couple of books. And that's how my love for books actually started. I loved more than the written word. I fell in love with lots and lots of visuals. You know, the pictures in Amar Chitra Katha, the Akbar Birbal, so many things. You know, the colors caught my eyes, and I would love, you know, reading and immersing. Now, as soon as Appa came back from office every day, he would sit and he would start telling a story. You're asking me what story? The story of how he went to the office, what all happened in the office, and while he was coming back, when he was driving his car, something happened, X happened, Y happened, Z happened, but in chronological order. He was such an amazing storyteller. And I used to wonder, Appa, how is it that you're able to remember everything? How is it that, you know, you communicate so beautifully? Of course, at that time, I was just immersed in storytelling. And guess what? Amma was a great listener. She used to say, Apru, and then, and oh, like that. And she also used to give her story of how she had spent the whole day maybe reading something, and then, of course, cooking, and then making sure my sister and I went to school, we got ready, and our homework was done. And that is how I was introduced to the world of stories and storytelling. So, what does this? Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because in communication, there's always a teller and a listener. If I just keep on telling and none of you are watching, then what use of this communication? So, imagine this. I didn't use any words, but all of you will know the story. That's right, the story of the thirsty crow. I used gibberish. I didn't use words at all, but then I used actions. I used actions to enable you to go and visualize the story as to what was happening. Why did this lady, why did Janaki suddenly become somebody else? And that is the beauty of communication. You don't need words all the time. And you don't realize, you know, in a study conducted by UCLA, they found that the voice is only 35%, right? In a communication, the visual effect is 55%. So what you see takes 55%, your voice takes 35%, and only 7% is verbal. My God, that means 93% of your communication is non-verbal. And we think words are important. Of course, they are important, but you don't realize how much the words, the words are important, but how much the non-verbal communication becomes the biggest part of your communication. Now, imagine the same story with words. Once upon a time, there was a very, very thirsty crow. He looked all around. Ah, ka, 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 ka. He was feeling very, very thirsty. And then he looked at this jug, which had just a few drops of water, and he was excited and he said, there is water and I can drink it. But he looked around. He put his beak and he couldn't reach the water. He looked around because he was really thirsty. What did he do? He picked up those pebbles. That's right. He picked up a pebble, dropped it into the jug. Nothing happened. Picked up another pebble, dropped it into the jug. Nothing happened. But slowly, as he put more and more and more pebbles, the water level rose and he was able to quench his thirst when the water came just enough to wet his beak and drink the water. So you realize a combination of gestures, voice, the way I even speak the words makes a story listenable. So what are these different aspects which makes you communicate better, which helps you communicate better? So imagine you are in class. I know we are all in very, very strange circumstances. You're all sitting at home and you are in front of the screen from where you're able to see me and your principal and other teachers. But imagine you were in class again and you're all making a lot of noise, which I'm sure all your teachers will agree with me, lot of noise before your teacher comes. And as soon as your teacher walks in, he says, shh, teacher, that's it, shh, the teacher has come. And there is one, shh, and everybody settles down. And the teacher starts. Now, if the teacher has a very soft voice and she says, today we are going to learn something about the history of Tamil Nadu. Some of you, the front benchers, will listen. The other ones, they will start getting distracted because the voice has to travel. So what does the teacher do? She will tell you, good morning, children. Today, we are going to learn a little more history about Tamil Nadu. So that is how she projects her voice. And that's exactly what you do too. When you ask your Amma, Amma, please, can I go out and play? And Amma says, no, you can't. Amma, please, can I go out to play? No, you cannot, says the mother again. So you go to Appa and say, Appa, can I please go out to play? Now see how your voice is almost begging, you're requesting. And then Appa says no. And then you say, what is this? None of you are allowing me to go to play. I want to go to play. How your voice just transformed, where it was in the beginning and where it is now. This transformation is called the volume, the pitch, the tone of your voice. And who has the remote control of this voice? You. So sometimes when you've made a mistake and you want to go and maybe tell your Amma that I'm the one who broke that little vase, which is lying broken there, your voice will be, Amma, I know you're angry. Look at the way your voice is. Your voice is absolutely soft because you're feeling terrible that you've broken something. Maybe it was her favorite vase, flower vase. What do? You immediately turn down the volume of your voice and you start saying, Amma, please, Ma, I won't do it again, Ma. I'm so sorry. But if it's something that you have not done and you say, it's not me, but it's your sister or your brother, you say, Ma, I haven't done it. I haven't done it at all. It's him or her. Anything and everything can be controlled. But then you have the remote control of this volume of your voice. And this voice can sometimes be very, very sweet and can sometimes be very, very harsh. And some people use their voice to communicate so beautifully. They sing so beautifully. Sing the sunflowers, rearing out their red roses. Giggle the gulmohars, ma the marigolds. Pop the pretty poppies, dance the dahlias. Not the neem flowers. Sarigama padhani sa. Some people train their voices because their voice is so beautiful and they want to sing, they like singing, and that is also a form of communication. They are communicating with their voice. And imagine actors. What are you doing here? I am the king of this country. I am the king and I instruct each one of you. So you see how the voice comes, it booms, and suddenly you feel there is a king standing in front. And that's how people who practice theater, people who do drama are practicing and they are able to project their voice. In some dramas, in some theater, especially if you are in Chennai, in museum theater, you don't use mics. So when we as people who practice theater go, you have to really project your voice in such a way that even the last bench, the person sitting in the last bench is able to hear your voice. So how do you do it? You do it by practicing. You do just like you practice any sport, right? You practice a lot. If you want to be an excellent cricketer, you want to be an excellent hockey player, an excellent baseball, volleyball, whatever it is, badminton player, chess, you have to practice. You have to put your mind and soul and dedicate time to the art. Similarly, even with your voice, you need to practice. If you want to be a public speaker tomorrow, imagine all your children are going to grow up. Some of you are going to be entrepreneurs. Some of you are going to have big businesses. Don't worry about this corona right now. It's just a phase. You're all going to come out of it, and we're all going to get back to our normal life, but we would have understood what it has taught us. But remember, when you graduate from your school and you go for higher education, there'll be interviews that you need to attend. There will be big companies of which you will be the managing directors. You might start a completely new work of your own, some new product that you will launch. And what will help you launch it, apart from all your other work that you have done, is also when you are able to speak about this product. And how will you speak about this product? It is through your voice. And that is why this voice is given so much importance in that study of communication, 35%. Remember, that is a huge chunk. Now, what is this 55%, which is visual? Visual is all about the way you express your face. That's right. And if I say, that's a comedy face. Sad face. That's angry face. So many facial expressions. Sometimes you should go in front of the mirror and look at yourself. When you get angry and your father says, don't look at me like that. Or the moment you know that Appa is angry or Amma is angry and you don't even go there. She's not even spoken a word. And how do you know it? Through the visuals. How do you know it? Because of her eye contact. Remember when teacher looks at you saying, are you the one who didn't do the homework? And you say, how did she even find out? That's because your face says it all. And when your teacher comes and asks you that question, you're not able to stop yourself from saying, yes, ma'am. And yes, I didn't do the homework. And why is it? It's the same eyes which has also said, it's okay, you're feeling feverish. It's okay, go. Come, let's go. Let's take you to a doctor. It's the same teacher. And how is her eyes at that time? Now, if I remove my kannadi, all right, I remove my specs and I start talking to you, you'll be able to see my eyes better. You'll be able to see whether my eyes are soft and are full of love, or full of anger, or full of, I'm confused. This doesn't seem to be it. So much is conveyed through our eyes and our facial expressions, and we don't give it that much importance. You have to. Don't think that communication is only words. It isn't. Remember, it's only 7%. The rest, 93%, is the way your face talks, your eyes talk, the way your voice, your gestures. What are these gestures? Look at me. I'm using my hands so much because that's the way I am. Some people don't use it. Other people use it. Many of you, when you're fighting with your best friend, or maybe not best friend, you use your fist and you say, hey, no, give it to me. You won't say, give it to me. You'll use your hands, right? So those gestures, remember, these gestures are the ones which also make up in that visual section of 55%. And we don't seem to realize how much the other person is understanding, because not just with your words, but with your facial expressions, your gestures, and your whole body. Your whole body is communicating a lot of things which you think doesn't matter. It matters. It matters a lot. And we are a sum total of all that, our words, our visuals, our expressions, our voice, our gestures, and that's how we communicate. But when we communicate with words, I think there is the power of three. The power of three, which I strongly believe in. The three main important, we can call it PAM. It's the purpose. It is, how do I call it? It is the purpose. It is the audience. And it is the message. So the purpose is to communicate something. And who is the audience? So if the teacher is speaking to another teacher, she'll say, yes, I know, I haven't completed this, my class hasn't completed this assignment. Has your class completed this assignment? That's how she will speak, because her audience is different. But if she's going to be speaking to you children, she's going to be saying, have you completed the assignment? And what is the message? The message is very clear. Have you completed the assignment? And how is the message so clear? Because the thought process, we've thought about what we want to say. Many a times, we don't even think before speaking. So it will be like that. That's how your listener listens. I didn't understand a word. You need to think about what you are speaking, how you are putting it forward. And that is why the power of three. Remember the purpose. What is it that you want to achieve? The audience. Who is it that you're speaking to? And the third, the message. And I think these, once you think about all this, once you think about all this communication tricks and tips, you'll also learn the power of three magical words. I think we need to use it very, very carefully and beautifully. The three magical words are please, sorry, and thank you. The moment you say, I want that, and then you just add a please. Please, I want that. Or please, can I have that? When you go to a restaurant and somebody is serving you, you can't say, can I have one ice cream, please? If you say, he's also doing his work, the waiter, the person who's serving you, and you've gone there. It's okay. I know that you're paying money, right? Your father is paying the money, and that's how you're getting the ice cream or a milkshake. But then there is something called dignity. So what do you say? Please, can I have some more? Or please, can I have this ice cream? And immediately it softens. It's so beautiful because there seems to be a connect. There seems to be such a beautiful connect. So what do? You say please, and then you say sorry. Sorry when you know you have erred. You have not done something right. And immediately you say sorry, and it softens the impact. If you say sorry to your parents, you're not becoming anything less. In fact, the moment you say sorry, you become so relieved. It's almost as if a big thing has come out of your heart and you're feeling lighter. You feel very, very heavy. But the moment you say sorry, because sorry is almost the foundation for new beginnings. And then, thank you. We have to practice gratitude. That is such a beautiful way of communication. Have you ever said thank you to your teachers who are struggling now to make sure that you don't miss any chapter from your books? They are trying to do all kinds of online, your teachers, your principal, your entire school. It'll be so beautiful if you just pick up the phone or send them a note or whatever it is, your means of communication, and you say thank you. You say thank you to Amma and Appa who are at home, who are managing. They are also working. They're also making sure that you attend your online sessions. They're also making sure that they are cooking. They are washing the dishes. They're doing everything together. and they're tired, like how I am. But then when my daughter says, "Thank you, Amma," I feel so happy and I'm all ready for the next day. Just two words, thank you. And the whole world will become magical. So remember, children, the power of three. Thank you, please, sorry. So the next time you want something, try this method. Try this, and I'm sure you'll be very happy. When I spoke something about communication, I spoke something about acting and how we project their voice, but something that we are all missing. We are all missing. And today, my mother-in-law, who's 91 years old, she saw me preparing for this, and she saw me all these written, and she says, "What a beautiful handwriting you have, Janaki." And that's when I realized I don't even know, children, whether you're even practicing handwriting. It is such a beautiful thing. I mean, please, I used to write letters to my Amma and Appa whenever they sent me on vacation to Kerala. And I used to love writing postcards and inland letters. I don't think you've even seen a postcard or inland, but doesn't matter. Start keeping a diary. Start communicating to yourself. And this goes to all the teachers and ammas and appas also. I'm sure all of you have very beautiful handwriting, even if you don't start writing. When you start communicating with yourself, that's when you realize there are so many beautiful things that you've noticed, but you've never felt like writing. And the moment you start writing, you say, "Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Ah, why don't I write a little story?" And that's a beautiful way of communication. Imagine all of you are at home now, Amma, Appa, Tata, Party, you, your sisters, your brothers, and suddenly they say, "I think we need to play a game." You know what game you can play? You can just take the book, any book, and you can just open the book, take a word, and it might be philosophy, and you start making a story about philosophy. Or you say, "Amma, Appa, can you share some story which talks about philosophy?" And Amma will say, "You know what? I have gone to, uh, I've climbed a mountain." And you say, "Amma, you never told me." That's because you never asked. So this is a time to share stories. Stories are the best way of communication. You can start going. Imagine that your Amma or your Appa or your Tata and Party, they will start reliving every single moment of their life because you asked them to share a story. Let's all share a story time. Make that time and start communicating with each other, and you'll be amazed at the number of stories that will come. So keep that journal and ask Tata Party to share those stories and write down in that journal saying, "You know what? I didn't know my Tata knew the DIG of police, or my Tata was actually so and so. My Party, she used to do this and she used to do that." You'll be surprised the kind of stories that will come out of these cutie little story sessions in your home. Another thing, daily when my mother-in-law gets up, she, not even one day passes without her reading the newspaper. She reads every single, she's the most informed in our family about what is happening in the world. Now, I don't know whether you get newspapers, but if you do get newspapers in your home, I think, children, you must start reading the newspapers. And the fun part of it, you can just take a headline and make your own story. You can say, "Someone tripped, someone fell into the well." Who fell into the well? See, the story starts and you start reading more and you start communicating. You will look at these words which are new. Then you will go to Google and ask, "What are these words?" And you will find out how are they pronounced, because Google also tells you how to pronounce them. And it is so beautiful. By the time you go back to school, you will have so much knowledge. You will be so well read. And that is another ways of communication. You have to read. The more you read, the better you will get in understanding concepts, understanding words. Your vocabulary will improve, and you will also start writing better. Write your own stories. Take prompts. You know what prompts are? Prompts are like, and suddenly in the night, tip, tap, tip, tap, there was a sound. We don't know where the sound came from. And then you stop. You can actually make your own prompts and then start saying, what could have happened? And you can have a chat with your friends. You can have a little WhatsApp group, or maybe you're all doing FaceTime. I don't know. Whatever your means of communication, say, listen, I had this brilliant idea of a story. And then another friend will pitch it. Tip, tap. And it was actually the water dropping into the bucket. Somebody had not shut the tap. And another one will say, oh, and when I went inside the bathroom, there was a cat. But we don't have cats at home. Where did the cat come from? And so on and so forth. It'll be so beautiful. Each one of you will start communicating. And you will find that there's this, we all love stories. Who doesn't love stories? We are all wired for stories, and we all communicate through stories. Every day, if somebody, once the school reopens and they'll say, hey, what did you do all these months? You will tell them a story. Oh, you don't want to ask me. You know what happened? Da 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 da, and you'll go on, because that's how we are built. We love stories, and that the newspaper or a prompt can really help you. So have a story time, have a role play, imagine yourself that you're somebody else. The older students here who are watching, you can start keeping your journal too. You can start writing, and maybe you can even publish your own book. There'll be so many thoughts that are coming into you every day, because you're consuming so much of the internet. All that you're watching, it'll start building up. It's like these little story bubbles will start growing, and it'll become a big bubble. Start writing them down. Start doing role play. What if I was the prime minister of the country for one day? What if maybe you get a story idea for a movie? Maybe you get a story idea for a book. But how does that happen? That is when you start reading. You start reading, you start writing, you start communicating, and you communicate with your parents, your teachers. See, children, in a WhatsApp group, you can delete message, right? In a WhatsApp message. But when you communicate, it's already out. You can't say, sorry, can I just delete the message that I just said? Delete the sentence. You can't do that. So you have to think before you speak. And how do you think before speaking? It comes with practice. It comes with a lot of reading. It comes with a lot of thinking. So think before you speak. Breathe. Organize your thoughts, just like we organize our bookshelves, or we organize nice little cupboards that we have, right? We organize our cupboards, and we make sure that the small books are here, and then it goes the lengthier ones are here, and the thicker ones are in the end. You organize everything, right, in your home, and you keep your home neat and tidy. We need to keep our also neat and tidy. We need to organize our thoughts. And sometimes, when you start reading aloud, take a book, start reading aloud, start practicing. Maybe tomorrow you will participate in elocution competitions, debates. Not everybody is born a public speaker. Not everybody likes to stand in front of a mic and start speaking. You know how I started? Because my father said, never say no to an opportunity. He used to send me to all these competitions, and I'll say, Appa, but I don't know. He says, don't say I don't know. Say, can you teach me? And my Appa would sit down with me. He would help me write my own speech. If he writes the speech, then it becomes his speech. I have to write my speech, right? I used to speak in the assembly. I used to sing in the assembly. And slowly, there was no stage fright for me, because I started very young. I started communicating with a whole lot of people. And sure enough, there was a time when Appa used to say, do you want to attend this? And I'll say, yeah, Appa, I don't want to not attend it. I will go. And Appa was thrilled. He used to take me in his, ambassador car. He used to drop me, he used to pick me up, and he never used to say, Janaki, go win the first prize. No. It was always get the experience. So I was never bothered about winning. I was more worried about whether I could participate or not. And what did that do? I became very, very confident speaking in front of a crowd, speaking in front of, people who are maybe elder, people who are my age. And slowly it slowly translated into, participating in small, small drama, theater. And then when I came to Chennai and I got my first chance to act in a ad film, I didn't say no because I just remembered my appa. Go, go. There's nothing to, it's only your mind which will be a mental block. So I became a model. And then from modeling, I got a chance to act in movies. And I said, what if I forget the lines? What if I don't remember maybe those big, big lines? How will I remember? It just flashed me for 1 minute. And then I said, how can I give up even without trying? I have to go and try. So if I had failed miserably, then maybe I wouldn't have become an actor. But I didn't. I kept at it, and it was my enthusiasm. So the other three that you need in communication is enthusiasm, energy, and effort. So if these three, so from the purpose, audience, message, and to those three magical words of sorry, please, and thank you, you get also this three E's, triple E, which is your enthusiasm, energy, and effort. Lot of effort. Acting is hard work. Writing is hard work. Speaking is also hard work. But people make it look easy. And how do they do it? Because of a lot of experience and because of this beautiful word in Japanese that I've learned Renshudani, which is practice, practice, practice. Even before any storytelling that I have to do with my little ones or adults, whatever I do, or whenever I'm teaching in the Chennai Business School, I practice. I organize my thoughts and say, this is what, it'll be in a form of PPT because that is how I need to understand that this is what I am going to do. And I write it in neat handwriting so that when I write, it's a reinforcement of what I would like to speak, what I would like to communicate, what I would like to convey. And when we are doing all this combination of the PAM, which is the purpose, audience, message, and the three magical words, and also enthusiasm, energy, and effort, our communication will be like a breeze. It'll be so beautiful. It'll envelop everybody who's around you, and it'll make you feel so nice. And you know what I like to do? I like to spread smiles, whether it is through my acting or through my storytelling or through my writing. So when I wrote a storybook, which is for children, which is called the Jungle Storytelling Festival, I wrote about an ostrich who stammers because his story was also important. And I thought, story writing, right? I'm a storyteller, so it'll come easy. No, it took me 2 years to bring out a picture book because it takes that much effort. You write, then you rewrite, then you rewrite, then you rewrite. And I went back and forth some 10, 15 times till I attended a writing workshop and I understood that my approach was all wrong and I was writing in paragraphs, whereas for picture books, you just need minimal text. The visuals do all the talking, but you also need text to just support it. Once I understood that, I started writing, I started looking at the picture book differently. So my communication completely changed because I was going to communicate through my picture book. So these are the little learnings that I have had throughout my journey as someone who has led a large team in a corporate world, who has acted in front of the screen. Remember, acting is also tough. There's a lot of hard work. There are 100 people on the sets and you have to remember the lines. You have to make sure your makeup is all done. You have to make sure that you have to react When your co-actor says something, you have to react. All that is communication. That reminds me of this beautiful story. There was a man who was selling balloons. He was selling red balloons, green balloons, yellow balloons. And whenever there wasn't enough sales, when there was nobody who was coming to buy balloons, you know what he used to do? He used to pump some air, some helium, and then just let it out. And as the balloon soared high and high, children were like, "Ah, look at that, that's such a beautiful balloon." And they used to come running and he used to sell some balloons. Now this went on and on and on. And one day he felt somebody pulling his jacket. It's a young little girl. And she said, "I have a question for you, uncle." And he said, "What is it?" He said, "Even if you put a black balloon, that balloon will also fly. It will fly up." So uncle said, "It's not about the color of the balloon. It's about what you put inside the balloon." So it's like our attitude. If we have an attitude towards learning, so I feel that inside all of us, if we fill it with a lot of positivity and lots of learning and saying, "I want to learn this, I want to do this, I want to be a writer, I want to be a communicator, I'm going to do this, I'm going to take care of the way I speak," and all this positivity inside you, it'll be a beautiful version of yourself. But if you say, "Oh, I don't want to do anything, I'm so feeling so bored, I don't want to do anything, I don't feel like doing it," then nobody can help you. So you have to start learning to communicate what you want. You have to think, you have to communicate, write down that journal, take a diary, start writing your thoughts. It's so beautiful. All of us, when we were growing up, we used to keep diaries. I don't know if you children do. Start keeping diaries. Start reading books. There's so much of good content all over. Ask your teachers. They'll be very happy to recommend some books for you. Attend those online classes. Learn. This is the time when you can do everything possible to make yourself really a better version of yourself, right? So thank you so much, Sujata ma'am, and all of you for having given me this opportunity to connect with all the children here. And I'll be very happy to, uh, you know, uh, answer any questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for this wonderful speech. It was very interesting and informative. We are thoroughly delighted to have you with us on this show, ma'am. We will move on to the knowledge sharing session, shall we, ma'am?
Sure. Can you
Yeah,
hear me, or do you want me to wear this earphones?
so we can hear you, ma'am. It's perfect.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. The first question is from Parvati. Ma'am, did anyone inspire you to act in movies?
Oh, yes. All right. This is again, I think every time I'll have to give you a story. So there was this beautiful movie, Moonram Pirai, where, it was Sri Devi and Kamal Hassan, and I was in Delhi at that time. And I saw this scene where Sri Devi tells Kamal Hassan, "Sono, sono, anche கொஞ்சோண்டு ink கூட அங்க சுப்பிரமணிக்கு பொத்திட்டனம்." So he says, "No, கொடுக்க மாட்டேன்." "Romo, please, Romo, எனக்கு கொஞ்சோண்டு ink கூட." Now I saw that and I was fascinated by how Sri Devi could really act like this. And I started imitating this. And I was standing in front of a mirror and I started imitating this. And my father looked at me and he said, "What did you just do?" So I said, "No, that is from that was from that movie." So he said, "Do it again." And I did it. And he was so thrilled. He said, "Fish, fantastic." And from then onwards, any guest who came home, my father would say, "Janaki, come on, act funny, come, show." And I would do it, and the people started clapping and say, "Wonderful, wonderful." So I actually owe Sri Devi ji, the superstar of Indian cinema, a big thank you. if it had not been for that one dialogue, maybe I wouldn't have myself realized my true potential. So she has been a great inspiration. Thank you for asking that question.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
That
you,
was
ma'am.
lovely. The next question is from Dia. She likes to know, how did you get this interest in storytelling?
Very nice. So as you read out, I have been working with children since 1995. I brought out an audio cassette. During those times it was an audio cassette, which made multiplication simpler. And I used to frequent these bookstores like Good Books, Hippocampus, and all. And I used to do storytelling and sing-alongs. Um, and every week it was a new set of children, and I used to love my time. I never even felt the passage of time, and I was so thrilled. But after that, the corporate avatar and my films, everything took over, and I was able to spend only little time. But in 2014, Geeta Ramanujam of Kathalaya, she came. She came to our office, and when she was telling a story in her animated way, I suddenly realized, oh my God, I'm missing my storytelling. So let me start my own initiative. And with just two children at home, I started GOLPO Tales, and slowly I shifted it to a school. And then I collaborated with publishers like Karadi Tales and Tulika. And then, of course, people started calling me. I became an author. So that is how I went back to storytelling.
Wonderful. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, somebody says
The next question.
and enjoyed all through story. Thank you, Alia. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. The next question is from Girish and Swati. How and where did you get the idea of acting in the film industry, ma'am?
Okay. So, as I told you that I was a model, and Mr. Rajiv Menon gave me the first ever chance to model for the brand. And then one day he called me. He said, Janaki, can you come to ABM Studios? I said, yeah. And I went. At that time, I wasn't working. My daughter was just about, I think, 1 year old or something. And I went. I used to wear very big kuttu. And he said, Janaki, can you remove your puttu? I said, what? He said, no, just remove the puttu. I removed the puttu, and he said, okay, please give her the role of Sister Agnes. I said, what? Who? Why? So he said, no, no, no. This is a movie that I'm doing called Minsara, and I think you will be very good at Sister Agnes. So I was thrilled. I said, where is the shooting? What? He says it's happening in UP. So my entire family, we went as a picnic. I just had a picnic. There was no makeup, nothing. I just went. I just stood there. I acted, and after that, I roamed around in UP and I came back. So that is how my journey with acting in cinema started.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, the next question is, when did you start communicating so beautifully? It's posted by Jayaprada.
So good. Okay, so again, I go back to what I was saying. I think earlier I wouldn't think before, I was so excited to, if somebody said, what do you do? Blah, 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 blah. So I think everybody heard that, blah. Then I said, no, if I have to make an impact on anybody, I have to speak slowly, and I have to practice speaking slowly, because all of us are a bundle of energy, and anybody a question, we want to immediately, respond as if that person is going away somewhere. So always remember that, uh, everybody has the time, especially during these times. So I really, when I saw the expression in my children's faces, when I started communicating a story, when I started communicating slowly, I was thrilled, and I said, okay, so this clicks. So let me do it for all my spheres, no? Even when I'm teaching, even when I'm telling a story, or even when I'm talking to my friend.
Wonderful, ma'am.
The next question is from Kamakshi. What do you think a child's natural approach towards a problem should be?
Okay, so a child's approach, is it?
Child's approach. Yes, ma'am. Child's
Okay, so
approach.
if there is a problem, so let's take exam. as something that they think they view as a problem. Um, if the child feels that exam is a problem, then it is for adults, teachers, and especially parents to make sure that they don't pressurize the child so much, saying that it's an exam, it's an exam, it's an exam. So the problem, the child's approach will normally automatically become, it's larger than life. Examination is a very, very tiny part of our lives. How many parents are actually pursuing a job of which they learned something in college or school? Most of them would have gone to engineering, but are all in IT sector. How can it be different for your children, right? So what happens is, if the child is able to freely communicate with the parents, saying, I feel that I'm not able to understand this problem, you have to give him freedom to communicate. So that should be the approach to the problem. If the child has been given enough freedom by his parents and teachers, then his approach to the problem is, this is jujube. Nothing will happen. I can immediately crack it, or I can even go to my teacher, I can go to my principal, I can go to anybody and I can ask them a question, because they'll be readily be able to answer, because I'm not scared of them. But if you make it larger than life and say, this is G Boomba, I don't know what will happen if you fail in exams and all that, then God only knows.
So true,
Thank you
ma'am.
so
So
much,
true.
ma'am. Thank you.
The next question is, what was your ambition before entering films? This is posted by Sham Charan.
Okay, Sham Charan, you know what? I didn't even think I'll ever be associated with films. I never ever thought I will be in the film line. I have a master's in mass communication from Delhi, and I just wanted to be a filmmaker. I thought I would. So I assisted Mr. P.C. Sriram and Mr. Jayendra, and I worked in about 100 commercials. I used to do this ad film, post production. I used to go for shoots, where I would be the assistant. I would make sure that the children who are acting will act well and all that. But I think somewhere certain things are destined to happen. So when I got the first offer, I remembered what my father said: never say no to an opportunity. But I had no clue that I would be acting in almost 30 films after that. It has been a long journey. In about 25, 26 years, I've done about 30 films. I've been very choosy. I've just picked up one or two films, maybe a film a year or less than that. And I've been happy because I wanted to balance my other interests and acting, because acting is also full time, it's highly demanding. So for me, there was no major ambition, but I didn't say no to opportunity. And I think I must thank all my directors who have given me such wonderful films, and some force up there which is making sure that we go on the right path.
Awesome, ma'am.
Ma'am, your experience with Talabadi in Gilli by Charlie.
I knew that would be one question. Okay, so Vijay sir was, all of you know that he's extremely quiet, very reserved. So he's no different on sets. So I am one happy butterfly. I'm like, yeah, I keep talking and I keep chatting with everybody. And as soon as the director said, "Cut," Vijay sir would try and escape, but I would go behind him. And I say, oh, how is Sangeeta? How are your children? Where are they? And he's like, so it's very, very nice. Children, that when you see us on the screen, you think that, so you're such a cute mummy and son relationship. But that is the beauty of acting. If we are able to communicate that through our whatever I said, through our dialogues and the way we look at each other and the way we even speak to each other, I think then that's fantastic. Full marks to the director for having directed us. But Vijay sir is amazing. He's extremely quiet, extremely very reserved, but I also kept asking him questions.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, the next question is, have you written any book during this lockdown by Gauri Shankar?
Yeah. So I've written something for Parent Circle. It is a story, and I think that's something that I can send the link, e-magazine link to you. I think it is something that you should make your. It says, "Can boys cry?" and it's in the form of a comic. So thank you for asking that question. I have written a story. I've written one more story. I've co-authored it with my daughter, but that's gone to the publisher. So we don't know whether it will get approved now or it might take some time. But the other one is already published and I can share it, with your principal, with Sujata ma'am, and I think she will share it with all of you.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. The next question is from Rakshida. What is really required to start writing a book?
Discipline. The really thing, because we all dream. How beautiful we dream, and someone suddenly and say, "Hey, yeah," and you're saying, "Who's this?" And you were in this beautiful world of dreams where there was nobody to disturb you. Nobody says it's Sunday or Monday. You have to do this, and you're flying, and you're wondering, "How can I fly? Did I have wings?" And suddenly somebody, you open your eyes and you're in your bed. You've almost fallen down your bed. Now that could be the start of a beautiful story, but you will forget it. So have a discipline, right? That's why I told you, keep that journal, take that notebook, start writing. And if you start, it goes well with the teachers also and parents also. So many ideas are, bombarding you all the time. But we don't seem to say chair or idea. Don't say chair or idea. Say, wow, what a beautiful idea. Start falling in love with your own ideas and start writing them down. Start writing them like how I write. Everything I write, and some days it'll even give you some comedy because you'll say, yo, this is what I wrote down. This is really comical. But that's how discipline. You have to. It is like practicing. It is like becoming a musician. If you have to become an excellent musician, you have to practice every day. You have to say, why is it different in writing? You have to write. You have to write every day. If you start writing every day, you will become a writer. At least you will start organizing your thoughts and you'll put it there.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks
Fantastic.
for motivating.
Fantastic, ma'am. The next question is from Mr. Gauri Shankar. He's asking you any YouTube channels that they can see to either hear or see your speeches.
Okay, so I have a YouTube channel which is called Janaki Sabesh. You can please go there, and I have there are at least about 15, 16 storytelling that I have done, especially during lockdown. And I will be adding a lot of my chat shows and things like that. So please go, and you can also visit my website, which is janakisabesh.com, and do visit my YouTube, subscribe to it. You might be pleasantly surprised with the kind of content that's going to come up. Very, you will smile because there are a lot of stories that I have told for children, and it's I've enjoyed performing them. So I hope you enjoy viewing them as well.
Sure, we all would do that, ma'am. Thank you.
The next question is from Meghna. What was your opinion about oration when you were young?
What? Sorry, can you ask me that again?
What was your opinion about our oration when you were young?
Okay, that is I always wanted to speak, right? I always wanted to be, and especially when is it that you fall in love with your own speeches or speaking is when you have a great audience. So when you have an audience like my father and my mother who were so thrilled, who were so giving and so encouraging, saying, fantastic. In fact, in one of the assemblies in my school, I dressed up as Sarojini Naidu and I memorized a poem. And my father taught me how to beautifully memorize that poem and said, don't do rote method, start feeling the words and it will just help you remember those words. So every time I see lotus, I see a lotus, I can see the lotus. Every time I say sun and the sunflower, Because I'm able to see it, I'm able to communicate, and I'm also able to remember.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. We can also imagine how your father would have been narrated you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Imagination, imagination. Thank you.
Ma'am, your next question is, what are your hobbies? This question is posted by Sharvi.
Hobbies is, something. I have cutie potted plants in my balcony, and every morning my first chai is with them. I have kept names for all of them. I have Monu, I have Shambhu, I have Kam, I have Gajapati Kulapati. I have all these names, and I don't talk, but I find so much of peace. So I communicate with my inanimate objects also at home. Like sometimes, I will look at maybe my phone and I say, today, just behave, huh? Don't do anything. I look at my computer, and I have this ability to. And my biggest hobby is, of course, trying to um, make, I don't call it a hobby. I love bringing a smile on my mother-in-law's face, and she's such a great supporter of mine. So today, if I'm going to narrate a story, I go and narrate it in front of her, and that's become a part and parcel. But of course, to answer your question on hobbies, it's basically writing. I write. I try and write. All these kuti ideas come to me, so I write, and then I now cook a lot, but not much because my daughter is a better cook than me. But sometimes just to make a coffee, if you just put your heart and soul, that coffee will turn magical suddenly. That's because you feel. My mother, when she used to cook, she'll do something. So I'll say, Ma, are you doing something magic? She'll say, I just wanted to, taste nice. And I'll say, but she was such a fabulous cook. But that is what, the whole thing about wanting it to be nice, even if it's for yourself, that's what makes everything good.
Fantastic, ma'am. Thank you.
The next question is from Melatilia. Is book reading make a kid a daydreamer?
A daydreamer. No, you have to read books because you're already a daydreamer. Books don't make you a daydreamer. You are already a daydreamer, but books will actually organize your thoughts beautifully because books will take you to those far away places. Just looking at home, especially during this lockdown time, you can't go. Just take the book home and travel all the way wherever you want. Take a Harry Potter, go to the magical world of any and every book. So please, if you're asking me whether it will make you a daydreamer, it will make you something even better, even more.
Thank you so much, ma'am. The last question is from Shanvi. Tips to write a storytelling.
Tips to
Tips to write a storytelling. How to write a
how to write a story. Okay, so the
story.
main important ingredient is first organize your thoughts, then keep that journal, and a story has three parts. Again, the power of three: beginning, middle, and end. Now, the beginning, you start writing, you say this is the story of Shambhu, and then something has to happen, right, for the story to go. The story, something happens, then there is a conflict, something happens, and then there is a climax, something, some dishum happens, or something meets a dinosaur, and then the story has to end. So every story has to go through this arc. So beginning, middle, end. So you organize and then you start thinking about the five W's. What happened to this? Who is it happening to? When is it happening? Which are the other characters? And why is this person telling the story? And then how is the story being told? If you just put all this together, voila, you have a story.
Wow.
Thank you, ma'am. Wow, thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks for answering all the questions patiently. It was very useful and enriching session. I request our principal, Ms. Sujata Saranan, to join us for this vote of thanks.
Sure.
Wow, Janaki ma'am, nothing can replace this. Your smile, visualization, connectedness with the object, and nature and your bondage with your elders, that all showed with a lot of expressions. Really, today you have shown us the real dimension of other side of the communication. Especially, you have mentioned that 93% of non-verbal gestures and everything that made the
Yes.
communication very beautiful. No, you started like a vehicle. It started with a boom and accelerated in the middle, and it reached the greater heights to the extent. Really, the spectators will be spellbound, and it will take time for them to come to reality. This is the power of the storyteller, I believe. Hats up to you, ma'am. Thank you for coming and join with us in this great moment and make our children to be so active. I was wondering that one of the students has written that she has stopped writing the story. So nowadays, after seeing your presentation, she got inspiration, and she's planning to write the story again. That's what else we record from this. Thank you,
That
ma'am.
is so wonderful, ma'am. Thank you for reading that
Yes,
out.
yes.
You know,
Here
it
I
was
would like to give uh, thank note to my management, the
sure.
managing director, Ms. R. Archana, for giving this wonderful opportunity. Thank
Yeah,
you, Janaki
I
ma'am. Be
haven't
safe.
met Ms. Archana, but thank you so much for even conducting these webinars where, I mean, things like this kind of feedback makes me feel so elated because I can't see them, but then thanks to you and your wonderful team and Malar, and this is the power of women, as I told you, I must
Yes,
add
thank
that
you.
I think all of you are doing such a wonderful job. It's not easy to keep people engaged. And you're doing a
Technology
wonderful.
made everything easy, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you, Malar, for being the face behind the technology also. And thank you so much, ma'am, for inviting me to be a part.
Thank you.
Over
Thank you.
to
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. I take this opportunity to thank our inspirational chief guest, Ms. Janaki Sabesh, our beloved managing director, Ms. R. Archana, our admirable principal, Ms. Sujata Sarvanan, and other principals of SAN Group of Schools, our fellow staff members, all our wonderful and supporting parents and students for spending their valuable time in this webinar and making it a very big success. Thank you so much. Let us meet again with an enthralling session in the evening with another interesting guest and topic. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
ma'am. Thank you. Thank you.